Welcome. This is part 7 of the reading of Naruto Ultimate Harem Marmalade Party. Listener discretion is advised. Extremely advised. So without further ado, on to the main event. Day 11. It was of crisp morning over at the training field. Shizune had given him May to have another day of rest, but she did let him look over the training with May. The Mizukage had great insights that have helped with Isuibi and her water style jutsu, and Ame and Tintin with their jutsus too. Really, Naruto saw it at all the girls taught share techniques. Like Yakumo showing Sasame jutsu where the user's hair spread to cover them, and then they could travel through floors and stuff and pop up. And Sasame taught Yakumo jutsu of like Jiraiya's, using hair to stretch out and catchify. Tokiwa shared some Nadeshiko village style sortings with Tintin, and Shizuka of taijutsu with her. Naruto saw a big moment for Tintin when she learned to use her earth chakra to power up hand-to-hand strikes. And speaking of taijutsu, Goro was of learning more from Sakura and Shizune, hard attackings that broke up the ground. Today, Naruto was of going over Rasengan learnings again. It was of good to see Amy and Hinata, and Hana was to learn it. Hana saying it for no, she's spinning already. He thought of May being interested to learn and see wheels of plotting turn in her eyes. He was also interested in seeing Yakumo's Rasengan, how was it of much stronger than anyone's. After the tough Rasengan learnings, Shion led them of calm breathing exercises, which Naruto go from into sage bear training, feeling a few of the girls close to it, but as of opening eyes, he forgetted where they were in circle. So after, he made his harem jutsu, and made for a big team battle. But it was a short. May and Goro and Risa and Tintin teamed up and pwned tons of them, despite his best attackings. So after another quick break, Isuibi spoke up. Naruto, I was just thinking, is there anything my boy could do for teaching you? Any taijutsu maybe, or any techniques? There was agreement murmur of the other girls. Maybe Tintin and I could teach you about genjutsu, somebody said. Or maybe we could learn you of genjutsu, said Yakumo. I'm not so good jutsu, nor everything else sounds great, starting with the good old taijutsu. Goro stepped forward, her purple hair being as of raven in the sunlight. I've been wanting to try this with you for a while, she said. My family was of bear country and had a cool style passed down. So, real quick, Goro summoned a huge bear and began to train Naruto of the bare-fisted style. It was of strong attackings and stance that was good for with power in them. It of simpleness that Naruto see was for the uber power to be easier to use. But it was of not as fun because Goro made him practice against her bear, which was, of course, strong but also surprisingly fast. Shizuka was also teaching of the taijutsu, the Nadeshiko style of roaring gale things, which was of cool, because Naruto also had one natured chakra. But Naruto was surprised to see Shizune step up to teach of taijutsu, thinking she more of medic. Shizune, what is of this? I'm of to show you the death-bound driver. She gave a good old Shizune chuckle and made of a shadow clone, getting her shoulders. Come on, follow along. So Naruto did, as Shizune began to explicate. Now, once on the shoulders, can swing down. Hold as of in the front, like a standing 6'9" position, and then down. Shizune finished the throw, and it poofed her clone. It poofed his clone when he did it too. He see of this was a good throw. He remembered the hurtings it gave during tag game. He seed some of the other girls was have learned it too, as of Goro and Amy and Moegi. So, after Samui and Tintin were of leading all with swords, it was of time for lunch, and they headed back to the base to fly of light and happy again. And the food was of good gunnerola bras and some juices. Then the Mizukage was of ladyish again, and was of taking out on a whole big harem shopping trip. First up was the clothes, and there was lots of clothes each pot. The girls tried to make a team of Amy and Goro, but for of they purple hair, but the two now follow and get their own clothes, Amy getting Benny black stuffs as of tight shorts, and this one pair of shorties that had roses orange on the thighs and lace-up sides from calves and black halter top. Gora actually liked the jeans Amy got, but to avoid teen dressings, got the same style with white instead and no designs, and of white tank top from the same store. Sakura got some more black actiony shorts, recommending the brown Sasame, who nodded and got a pair too. At a clothes store with more of the actiony wearings, many of the girls bought these. Risa got some mesh coverings for the elbows and half-finger gloves, tough black leather ones, and a good dark grey shirt as of for the Konoha tuning uniform, and also picked up a new kanai holster, one easy open closer it had. Tamaki got more wrappings for her fro arms and wrists, and a cute, sweet, high-collar sleeveless shirt with a good red collar. Isaribi got good waterproof shoes and a sea blue camo wetsuit, which had fabric, had interesting feel, like of slimy but not wet. Naruto got himself a mesh armor shirt for under his jacket, and Bachiko and Mawagi looking out the nigger sandals, Mawagi getting a new black pair, and Bachiko ones of blue to match her eyes. Tokiwa got another backless shirt, this one of a ninja brown colour. They went to a four-pence store after that. Shizune stocking up on needles, everyone getting lots of kunai and shuriken. Samui tested the belts of some tanto and katanas, and got some, and Ami a couple more sai. The last one was a girly clothes store, wink wink, selling dresses and other things such as brassieres. He saw Vyakumo get a nice new pink kimono and a sea green haori, both with nice flower petal designs on them, and he saw of May to get a leather thong off a rack, but Sakura started to push him away. You'll see later, but it'll be a surprise, she say. So Naruto waited outside the store until several minutes later the girls came out, Naruto noting Hinata had the most bags. Back at the base on the Hokage's head, there was much giggling and talking with the bags and the things the girls got. While as of the convertible, Naruto fixed up a big pot of ramen with Shizune. There was big anime steam shotting from it, with some anime smellings going to the girls, and Hana got a good sniff as they durfed it, boy. Naruto, what are you putting in there? It actually smells kinda good. It's of my special blend of secret ingredients. You'll have to eat it to find out.
It better not be one of those chocolate douches like last time,
Karen said.
Don't worry, I put the last of them in the pudding yesterday.
The girls dropped their mouths in anime shockings and jumped Naruto for making a big anime dust cloud with punchings.
I was kidding! Ow!
Shizune smiled and shook her nice ass as she stirred the ramen. I think it's actually done now, she called, and instantly everyone seizured around the fire with their bowls and chopsticks. Mohi got up to help serve again, and after a quick "Itadakimasu," they dug in like niggers on a chain gang. After that, hey, this is just miso ramen, Sakura said.
That's your secret ingredient? Yum! Miso ramen's great every time!
After the secret was out and dinner over, they all snuggled in their tents. Kamachi and Shion and May came in, wearing light and kind of see-through bedclothes and lady sexy style that actually were good for all of them. But Naruto could only gulp as May and Shion jointed him on the cushions, looking at him of expecting. May smiled and started spooning him like a serial killer. And Shino gave him a light kiss of lips for the three make of a person hug with. Outside, Sakura stood beside the tent flap, wondering if she wanted to go in or not, but decided to tell of Naruto the next day in private, and with an anime sigh bubble turned and went back to her own tent. Day 12. As of Naruto woke up, he was feeling of sexiness and goreness. Saw of May's sexiness shape as a mouth. She was on sleeping, still on the other pile of cushions, breathing of easy. May stroked Naruto's shape, fondling it, and sexing was moaning onto him.
Oh, May,
But May no stop, only increases sexing so of Naruto towards the throbbing in her mouth. She was a thick swallowing, gasping of air on tongue.
Good morning,
Mizukage saying with stickiness.
yeah, good so far.
Want anything else before breakfast?
No, I'm okay.
May smiled and was up to clean off her mouth. Kamachi walked in and of the lookings. breakfast is on. Are you all ready? Shion rubbed her eyes, being of the waking. Break is just a few minutes beyond. Naruto nodded his agreeings, and Komoto left of Mac out, homie. But right when Naruto came out of his tent, he was blindfolded by Rika.
Hey, what's going on here? You have a special kind of breakfast today, Naruto,
said Amy and Risa like twins.
Don't worry of us, we already ate in preparation for this. It was oatmeal with cinnamon owl feces. Anywho, your task is to guess who was aim to hold your food for you. How am I supposed to do that? Oh, you'll know,
Tintin said from over to the side. Someone's hand was to be of guide him around and push him down onto his knees. There was a sound of food being served and muffled groanings. Hana, or whoever, Naruto didn't know, pushed his head down gently, and he smelled of the food, of spicy and also sweet, with warm anime smellings up to tickles the vaginas of his nose hairs. Eat, Hana said, so Naruto opened his mouth and took a big bite. It was of being a meaty chili with a bread and cinnamon with gooiness and sugar, and he took off another bite, looking up chili from side. But he tasted of a girl, not a plate. He held the girl's buttocks to eat up all the cinnamon roll and chili, his tongue going deep over Oopsie, and tasting the spicy and sweet of the sticky meat and bread.
Man, that was delicious. I think it was Hinata.
Hannah lifted up his blindfold, and it was Hinata. She was blushing with some chili leaking out of her vagina. But it was only of a quick peek, because the blindfold was back on, and he was for being guided the next girl of row. It was of chili and cinnamon rolls again, but there was of hair a bunch, so Naruto knew right away.
That one was Tokiwa.
He got quick peep of her to see her writings, then back down and for the next one. He have tail from small hips, and the hair was of sesame, and he inhaled big to suck of all the chili.
Yum, that one was sesame.
The next ones were of Tintin and Tamaki and Samui, who give herself away by her groanings. After Sesame and Samui were a new smell, one of Naruto knew good. He pinched of the noodles with fingers slurping up at the sauce and licking up above the girl's pussy to get all the taste. He held up the girl and kept his mouth open as ramen fell in, and the sauce too. That, he'd say, knowing of the girl's pussy good too, was Sakura. Kabuto tried to keep from face-palming. Do I even want to know what I'm interrupting? Those big anime rush of lights all turned to look at the sudden appearance. I could almost laugh, but that would alert you to my presence.
What are you doing here, Kabuto?
Naruto asked with pointings. It has come to my attention that you are in the lead of this farce Madara has set up, and that just can't happen. It is for good of nigga world I stop you here. Naruto stood of and taking off blindfold.
Wrong! Toby is of crazy. He tried to brainwash the whole world of his jutsu.
Naruto got ready for the fighting, staring right at Kabuto. I wouldn't call it brainwashing, you fool. You truly couldn't understand the anus of amphibian greatness.
Well, I may not know much, but I know what love is.
Shouted Naruto. Give me a moment.
And all Toby is doing is make up for more of the big cycle of fury.
Fury? Well, since you're all naked, why don't I strip down and show you my snake? So Kabuto took off his cloak and revealed his snake around his waist. Then Kabuto made with biting his anus thumb and slammed it off the ground, calling out, "Snake summoning jutsu!" Then there was a big hiss, and Nanda too looked above the walls for a minute. I think the time for talk has become over, as words only complicate the failures of our human condition, bitch. Naruto leapt to begin of the battle, but Shizune stopped him. Nay, Naruto. This time he's mine. I'll beat you as a whiny prison bitch. You haven't beat me once, and you won't do it now. Kabuto stared at Shizune, who seemed to close her eyes with defeat. And you might want to be of doing something to boot Manda before your village is gone. Again. Yakumo stood and was running off.
Yakumo, wait!
Amy got up to follow, and then Tintin did too, leaping over the wall. Is you so weak your women fight for you, Naruto? Well, I give of you fight for you too. Then Madara, Uchiha, and Deidara and Nagato, Pain, down to the wall. Naruto and other girls went off to fight them. Down below, Amy and Tintin. Glow stared of Mandatu's face as it thrashed around them nondescript buildings with tail.
Wanna go for it, Tintin? Yeah!
Then they made of the hand seals and did the
legendary Collabo Jutsu! Reverse Meteor Technique!
The big fiery spheres vomited from the Hokage's mouth, two catching Hamada right in the body. But one aimed at its head missed. Mandatu writhed from big impacts, and then Amy and Tintin jumped for it, being in head. But Manda swatted with its head, knocking them down to the ground. Yakumo faced it, getting ready for other big jutsu she could do. Rid back and lunged of Yakumo as she leapt for it, and being off to swallow Yakum.
No, it got her!
Amy shouted.
Should we still try to attack it? Yeah, but not of head in case we hit Yakumo too.
Tintin worried.
I use an earth jutsu to slow down it.
Then Tutu made a couple hand signs and yelled,
Earth style, dark swamp!
Then the ground turned to a swamp under Mandatu, and Tintin began to breathe heavy.
I'll take off the jutsu from here, Tintin.
Amy then took a sword which Tintin unsealed from a just-in-case deal on her thigh, and charged with Manda, making her fire chocolate to come from it, and slash of Manda in the swamp. It made good cut, but not all the way through. Amy began to panic, and had of no jutsu was such small chakra as she had at the moment. And then Mandatu's upside head exploded with whirlwind of bloody stuff. And then part of Manda flopped, as the part not swamped behind thrashed down some more. Then Yakumo was being whirled from it, covered all of from head to heel in blood and stuff of strings and chunks.
Let's go help Naruto,
Yakumo said of determined face when she got to Amy and Tintin. Back above the Hokage's head, Kabuto was of Mochizune. You say to battle me, but you only stand there napping? What of joke? Here, wake up. I even let you have used jutsu. Or you, he said to Sasame. Here, free shot. Sasame squeezed out of the grapes in her vagina, hitting Kabuto in the eyes of him annoying laugh. Sasame, Naruto, and the others need your help, Suzune said, of opening eyes. I've got Kabuto. Trust me. Sasame heard of big explosions and raced off. So what technique you have active? Eyeshadow no jutsu? Here, I'll let you have free shot. But then Shizune darted forwards and kicked Kabuto through the crown-shaped wall. She flew after him and hit him with kick from leaping star cutter, then fly to under him and land on ground. I used a Shoryuken. Kabuto landed in the blood near Manda's crops and wiped his own blood from his mouth. So, your taijutsu's improved, I give that, but it's not enough to beat me. Shizune nodded to be of agreeings, but then made super quick hand signs. Say, Jot, shackles of fight. Then the Kabuto's ankles seemed into the earth, which have spiked into his calves. Shizune then rushed forwards and beat of Kabuto, using of all power she had in big rush. But how? Because I now have you destroy the country and friends and peace we have all fought for. I don't destroy it. You all don't understand it be to create a new world, a better one. You cannot think this world is enough. We bring you shut up. Your words only embiggen the failures of your human condition. Bitch. This is Mustatki. You know what you do not. You will never cross the line until you Dartopia. I know of the line. I'll show you. Shizune made of gentle hold of palm to Kabuto and glowed with the chakra. Sage Rod, dichotomy of heaven and earth. Then Kabuto was split into a big cut hole left in the ground between him and down back to Manda. Then, now to be sure, Shizune ripped out Kabuto, still beating hard, and placed it off the ground. She drew off the jutsu diagram with his blood, and then did the hand signs. Sage Art, primordial womb. Then the blood flashed and squiggled to wrap around Kabuto's heart, and then made with anime glowings and sank into rippling ground. Shizune sighed, and looked up to see if the battle was all of Kabuto's summons. Mawagi hit Madara with a lightning cutter, and soon after Sasami was sealed him with a scroll jutsu. Then Deidara flew into air on an exploding clay bird and gave anime villain speech. I have an anus! Naruto and the others trembled of fear, and Deidara laughed with vagina muggins. And now for my ultimate masterpiece! He turned on, pulled up of his cloak, and pulled down his pants. Part of the disco parade! Big fireballs, almost as of reverse meteor shot on Deidara. A fiery orgy as of like the revenging plans of a eunuch. Made in her vapor-style mist jutsu, and it was of being only to deflame and shrink them, not of stopping. There was still of bits of clay that make small wounds from impact, scattering rocks like poo of fan hitting. Then Deidara yelled, and his palms licked his buttocks for a bit before he pulled them open further, and the barrage got heavier. Naruto made shadow clones and jumped up, being of attacking the clay bombs, and his clones dispersed of fast, and soon Risa and Samui jumped up, maneuvering and punting and slicing for the attackings of the clay, bounding of higher up and farther in. But Deidara increased the foul vagina. Mei increased the acidness of the Mr. Help, and Hana and Tokiwa and Shizuku leapt out. All the defend attackings make a stream of explosions from Deidara's anus. And then Nagato popped up behind them. Hinata and Eureka sensed him, and Hinata used her Byakugan to make of hit whose hardpoint, but it had no work. Goro see this and rushed over to combat with Nagato. Her taijutsu was overwhelmed. The bare-fisting make Nagato body turn to jelly mush with her power, and even of one big punch that blasted to his chest. But he began to reform, and then used Shinra Mako to push Goro away. Pachiko saw and was of scared, her dark crimson hair blowing in wind of jutsu. She looked of Kamachi for attackings, and as the Anbu taught her force with attacking, Amy and Tenten were back up the monument. Amy and Kamachi sliced him of same time, but Nagato used substitution jutsu, being of higher up of mountain. He used the water trumpet jutsu, but Asurimi catched and used own water trumpet jutsu, beating earth of Nagato's. There was a big struggle, and in a moment Nagato's jutsu overpowered Asurimi's. It seemed a bad situation, but Tenten used of a chain, and it robbed of Nagato, and pulled him down. Then Shizune came from the mountainside and tackled him, taking him to the ground in a big pile driver. It made a big crater with anime updraft of rocks and boulders and large explosion. Then Yakumo reappeared and used of Rasengan to keep Nagato down. It obliterated the lower half of his body, but of course he was quick reform jutsu. Sasame hurried over and used her sealing jutsu to put Nagato of scroll, and of heartbeat they of being relieved. But there was still of Deidara and his jutsu, which make light of angry suns in sky. Goro limped back over and stand hook up before with Deidara. I can't see him. Where is he?
He's getting closer to Deidara,
Carol confirmed. Battling through the explodiations, Naruto swam through hurricanes of explosions, till finally he was in range. He prepared the kunai with the exploding tag, and with a roar, slammed it into Deidara's anus. The revived Akatsuki ballooned up, then exploded as of the orgy of a skull-humping leper's penis, raining down like the love juice of a virgin eunuch. After landing of ground. Naruto and others breathe for a moment. Naruto looked at girls, seeing they all a worried look, and then their daughter began to form of head that fall in midst of them. Sasame noticed and quickly used the scroll sealing jutsu, putting away the exploding Akatsuki once and for jizz. They all breathed with a heavy effort of battle, quiet things as ashes of broken destiny fall. If you're hurt, come in close to me. Closer. Naruto and the girls shuffled closer, and Shizune made of the hand seals and put palm of ground. Sage rot, cycle of rebirth. There was glowy spread from her palm on the ground, and little bits of grass began to grow as all the bones and scrapes were healed. The glow faded, and everyone looked at themselves, almost surprised to be of saw that they were healed of this good. There was a silence of sharing looks, and then Naruto saying,
I is ready to face Toby now.
Sakura and the other girls nodded, sharing a determined look.
But after a fight like that, I'm gonna need some more ramen first.
The heroine face folded as Naruto chuckled, but after a minute they was all heading down to the village to eat of Ichiraku ramen. Naruto was ready for wrestlings, but it was of not to be. Ino and Suzume and Tsubaki found him, wanting to join, and Naruto, a nice guy who wanted to face Toby, so of course he let them, even though it was kinda awkward. He of course knew Ino had a hot shape of curves, and it was of good, but she insisted on Sweetie's orgy, and was of teasing him for almost an hour by playing with his shape and sexing it before being of serious and finish. And then she used the secret woman grip to pull of Naruto down to her, asking him for a sexing. Ino was of crazy hot, and he think fuzzy and say yes, and began to sex her girly parts and oopsie with her mouth. With his mouth, being of hard, firm lippings and swirly tongue, Ino gorning of whole time until her love juice wazzled on Naruto's face. But Ino was of still not done.
Ino, come on.
Only a few days left, Naruto. Want them to get all I can. This has not happened before or after.
Ino was of pull Naruto in, giving him kissings and licking her juiciness off his face.
So, you actually...
Of course, I always think you idiot silly guy, but I always think of you as skilled too.
Ino was of pushing Naruto back down to the cushions, grinding of his board with the kissings, Naruto squeezing her buttocks and moaning for her. He got a lusty, tired, achy shape, which Ino noticed and stopped with the big kissings. She breathed of heavy with heavy lustings, and leaned on side and pull up of leg to a being spread wide her poopsie.
6 me, Naruto. One last big time, 6 me to next year. So it means you so hard your teeth will feel it. Get in me now.
Naruto did as he was being asked, and putting Ino into her back and slipping his shape over her vagina, being of wild move to make sure his shape stayed big, gorning as Ino used of girly muscles to squeeze him, and then pull down and give biting sexing of her mouth to Naruto's neck with her mouth this time, and he got of sexing fury and pound out with his sexings. He tried to stay with big shape, but felt it shrinking, and got raw on blinding sex fury. Sexing his shape and smash it into Ino's poopsie.
Oh, yes, 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 oh.
Ino squeezed of mega tight with girly muscles, and Naruto throbbed, though he of no feelers love juice. Ino. He looked at Ino, her platinum blonde hair all of mist, fanned out behind her, sweaty and panting. Naruto pulled from Ino, but she still no let him of go. She gently pushed his head down to her breastises and pulled it to herself.
Give me 3 nipples, Naruto.
Naruto looked up and see the still hungry look in Ino's eyes, and so he began to sex Ino's nipple, then of a spot beside it, letting on and giving it wet, sucky sexing for a while, and off he did when he left Ino with the sexing circle. Ino smiled.
Now it was time for real fun.
What real fun?
mind-body switch technique. Suddenly Naruto was off look at himself, and he gave big mean grin of his face.
I really should have seen this coming.
He began to rub himself into a shape again, and Ino moaned as she put Naruto's shape in her. Oh, but Naruto, flexing his shape and grabbing her hips for hard sixes.
Ah, yes, I could sex you all day like this. I love being over with the penis.
Ino picked up his speed, hitting Naruto for being with super fast sexings. Naruto beginning to gore and rub Ino's girly button. He arched his back up for Ino, and she suddenly pulled him up to a stand, holding his waist as she found Ino's breasts, jiggling like jello as Naruto sagged backwards. Naruto's feigned with the feeling, shouting Ino's name. Ino gave him mad hard sexings, and let Naruto slip as he fly back onto a pile of cushions. Then the switch hitting was over, and Naruto sank to his knees, his face toppling to land by Ino's foot on cushion. It was of a smooth skin, even as more parts of Ino. Naruto know why, but he didn't massage her foot.
Oh, I didn't know you were a foot guy.
Naruto no reply, thinking it more of a Ino guy than of liking feet. Though Ino's feet were nice, in a way, Naruto crawled up to beside her and flopped on his back.
Ino, I think I'm done. I can't.
I'm pretty worn out too. You got me good. Especially before you started licking my foot.
Ino say with a wink. Naruto made a tired, scowly face, and Ino laughed.
I just wish this was on tape. You don't want to forget this, Naruto.
Ino chillaxed with Naruto, then just breathing easy and stretching out on the pile of cushions before sitting up.
Well, I think you've hugged you.
Ino giggled at her pun a bit.
Long enough. I'll see you later.
Ino brushed aside the tin flap, and not a breath later in walked Suzume. Suzume flung off her pink kimono, revealing strappy black leather stuff of which it barely covered her, and inexplicably she now had a whip. She cracked it, and Naruto gulped. I always knew if something was weird in her, Sakura say outside it. Ino nodded along with Amy and Tendon and Hinata. Meanwhile, Moragi looked to have burst with embarrassings. Shizune noticed this, and said with silly suggestings, "Who's up for a game of Duck That Goose?" The silly suggestings made the younger girls giggle, but all was nodding and agreed to play. They spread out in big circle as of the mercy of a minuscule donkey that was descended from the greatest wild donkeys. And Shizune volunteered to be it first. She started off with Goro, then went all the way around the circle before saying "Goose" of Tintin, who she knew was slower, and raced fastly with speedings back to Tintin's spot and sat down. "Arg!" Tintin huffed. "Duck, goose," Tintin say of Samui, who was surprised and got up for the chasings, but she did not catch Tintin in time, but it was close. Samui adjusted her top, then calmly walked around, ducking several of the girls before she got of May to who she goosed. But before Samui could even run away, May's arm shot out and caught her, and gave her a "kill you" smile and wagged her finger. Samui huffed and continued to walk, before coming to Amy, who she of say "goose" and dash off. Knowing of May's tricks, Samui did this on back leg, so Amy's swipe was no effect as she lose race back to her spot. Amy ducked with many of the girls before getting to Morgie, who she say "goose" and ran off. Morgie was fast, but Amy was outrunning her and looked over her shoulder, and didn't see when she ran into Suzume. They landed in a complicated anime way, with Amy tangled in Suzume's strappy outfit and of her face in the cleavage of the academy teacher's breastises. She got out with pop and gasped of air, and Amy see where right hand was and made a face and pulled out from there. "You need to watch where you're going," Suzume say, trying to act like teacher still. But then of a little awkward moment when Suzume looked to Tsubaki. The former partner of Mizuki glanced around, then looked off ground as she drew a tiny quick smile and head to Naruto's big tent. He was of asleep, with a fat lip and mark on his ribs. Tsubaki took her time stripping, slowly undoing her shirt and brassiere hooks, pulling down her shorts and panties, and folding all to put off a neat bow, then unbraiding her hair. Fully naked, she panted over to the half cushions, spooning of Naruto, weighing of being to know what would happen for the male sleepiness, if you know what I mean. She gently feel of his buttons and penis, getting of to know how good Naruto grew the last few years. Wink, wink. She see of his good lean muscle to it, of being hard and smooth, and of Naruto's scent of manliness, and Tsubaki began to think of her longing for a man after Mizuki drank of the tiger potion, longing as of a sail need wind. Tsubaki closed her eyes and enjoy a soft, quiet moment with Naruto, keeping of a steady hand on his cortical area. It was getting dark outside when it happened, and Tsubaki stroked Naruto harder and whispered wakings in his ear. It's me, Tsubaki. Tsubaki? Oh. Tsubaki turned Naruto to under and have slipped his shape inside her pussy, which had been growing of wet as of ships sailing through stormy seas of lustings. And of at last the wind filled the sail, and Tsubaki came back as like a virgin, groaning as she felt the claiming actress on her. Tsubaki hung her head, quietly breathing, before giving him a long, slow, smoochy, wet kiss from Naruto's clavicle to his mouth, her tongue of darting in as shy puppy trying to steal food of mean dog. But it is of no long, as Naruto wanted of Tsubaki looked up. It's time for dinner. Let's wash up and go.
Be along in a minute.
As Tsubaki went off to be clean, Naruto think of the sex one. If Tsubaki knew of him killifying Mizuki, then to go follow her.